everybody has things so much easier than me. I expect things to go wrong because they always do. Everything bad happens to me. Well, what's that? That's victim mentality. And maybe you or maybe someone you know has victim mentality. And the thing is, yes, bad things do happen. They do. And I think all of us probably at one point in our lives has gone through some sort of trauma in varying degrees. Obviously, some people's trauma is going to be a lot more than others, but we have all gone through traumatic events. But the difference between having a victim mentality and perhaps being a survivor is the victim is always stuck. Now, the thing is, we can actually make a conscious choice to not remain stuck. We can say to ourselves, yes, this bad thing did happen to me, and yes, I can see that that was truly an awful thing, but now I'm going to lay that to rest. It doesn't mean that I'm just going to forget it ever happened and pretend it never existed, but I'm not going to allow that part of my life to take power in my life going forward. Because sometimes people are a little bit prone to using past traumas as an excuse not to do things in life. I'm sure you have heard people say, oh, I can't do that because my parents never, and now I don't have the skills, I'm not equipped to, they never taught me how to behave in that way, so I don't know. Or maybe you'll say, I came from such a damaged relationship that I just don't trust myself, and so I can't see myself ever having a good relationship ever again because I just pick the bad ones. It's understandable. It's understandable to have that way of thinking. But the thing is, if we can't move past our trauma, we just remain stuck in it. And actually, that is the choice that we make. So we have to make a conscious choice to recognize it, to process it, and then to move on and not let that disempower us. Because if we're saying we can't do things because of these past traumas, we're taking our power away. We're letting the traumas run our life rather than us run our life. I mean, there are people who are stuck in victim mentalities who haven't necessarily experienced deep trauma. It's just that they are in a very negative mindset. Now, when you talk to one of these people, you can give them advice and show them the ways that they can help and improve their lives, but it often feels like they don't actually want to because they completely ignore any advice that you give them, and it can end up feeling quite frustrating. And also with some people, they take on their past traumas and use that as their identity. I am now the person who was. Yes? And they will relay their past traumas to people they meet, because they are very much introducing themselves as that person with that trauma identity. So it almost becomes like a superiority. I have this is part of me, and so you can't understand that I can't do this. You don't understand that I can't do this, that, or the other, because you don't have this trauma. And so therefore it also excuses them from improving their life. And some people enjoy that identity. Some people have grown up to take on that identity. Some people, their parents might have reinforced that sort of, poor you, oh you poor thing, of course it always happens to you, and talk to yourself, oh, you know, your poor brother or your poor sister, they always come across difficulties. And so therefore you become to enjoy the attention that is given to you around your perceived traumas. So if I tell people about what a terrible time I've had, I will receive lots of empathy and attention, and I quite like that. But the problem is that can only go on for so long, because actually people can only be empathetic and feel sorry for you for so long before it gets a little bit tiring. So what do we do? Well, the best thing to do is to make that conscious choice to change, to understand that the world isn't against you. Everybody, we are dealt different hands. Yes? Some people are born into wealth. Some people are born into poverty. Some people are born with extremely high IQs. Some people are not. Some people live in wonderful sunny climates. Some people live in cold, dark winter all year long. We cannot choose how we start off in life, but we can choose what our story becomes. Because if we decide to stay in that victim mentality, if we decide to identify ourselves as the victim, and we can't do a whole load of things because we're the victim, we have chosen that. Yeah? We understand that trauma has happened, and that was not something we chose. That was something that happened to us. But what happens after that trauma is our choice. And we can either decide to stay the victim, or we can decide to carry on and make better our life despite the trauma we've been through. So let me know in the comments, maybe you have experienced feeling like the victim, or maybe there's someone you know and it feels rather frustrating because as much as you try to help them, they just want to stay in this victim mindset. So please do let me know in the comments, and please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.